Alright. New style of review. Stream this one on Twitch. Thinking about doing it more often. I don't know. Might do a combination of both. But if you want to see me do these reviews live, where you can bounce ideas off of me, so we can, come to a conclusion. Because I like doing reviews like that. Then just follow me on Twitch, I guess. I stream there a lot, so most days. Goodbye, enjoy review. Thoughts on the... We can't give my thoughts on the level. It just doesn't want to. Alright. Bad level, only empty blue screen. 0 out of 10. So, because of the theming of the level and the way it is, I can't really review its decoration on the entire level as a whole, because each part varies so much. So you kind of have to review each individual section as their own level almost, because if you combine the level as a whole and then review it, you have this issue of the level doesn't work together because all the parts are different, and it's yeah, of course that's going to be the case, right? So we'll try to do each individual part. So we're going to start off with this forest. So gameplay in this forest, it's fine. There's nothing much to talk about. There's a couple weird mechanics you gotta look out for. It's just a lonely level. It's not sight readable. This is the opposite of sight readable, right? A demon level that you can't actually first try, and you will spend more than 1k attempts on, even for a top player, right? I was initially thinking that this was gonna be a problem with the spikes and that kind of thing, but I'm just trying to review it now once I've learned the level, because I think it's not fair to a level to give it a review or any thoughts in it, both gameplay and decoration, before you have learnt it. It uses the foreground, the stuff you actually interact with, are darker shades compared to the background, right? Which, that makes sense. I think it's good. It does its job. The trees here are pretty good. Transitions out of it are good. Only issue is very minor issue, but you can see in the background in the bottom left here, you can see a couple just visuals kind of fading away for no reason. But otherwise, there isn't really any proper criticism I can give this part. It does its job really nicely. The transition into this part feels a little bit off. This one pipe here kind of just feels a bit off. And the way everything moves, I don't know, man. The transition to that part doesn't really feel clean. The part itself, Dav's part is great. Look at the blur on this background. That's done really well, and it is really difficult to get that kind of blur and still make the level run fine, because that blur is very object dense. I like how the boxes rotate and everything here. It's all really good. The water is great. The glow here actually fills up this part really nicely. I don't know if stream would be able to pick that up, but there is glow on pretty much every single one of these blocks. Just very subtle glow, and it works really well into filling out that part. Yeah, it's very polished. This part, yeah, a lot of effort went to this one. So now we got this part here. The biggest issue here with this part is the gameplay, because there's a lot of things where you kind of just don't know what kills you and what doesn't. The foreground deco, sometimes it kills you, sometimes it doesn't. Cause look at this, okay? Okay, foreground doesn't kill you there either. But this one kills you. Why? To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, it would have made a lot more sense if there were just spikes there, because we could see they've used spikes. Spikes have been used in this part. There are spikes there, but you could barely see them. What's this rated? Medium demon epic. I think it deserves the epic, no doubt. This ground, it's great. It's a bit jarring here. I don't know what the aim was here. This kind of light fixture. The deco is a bit inconsistent, I guess. Obviously, this glow is very much out of place, but it's these kind of slopes. That roof slope up here is very much out of place. And the hitboxes are a bit weird. And then this part is just, I don't know what happened here, but this part kind of feels like a throwaway. That ending of the part kind of feels a bit lazy. This feels rushed, this ending, because it's a full detail and it looks like this. This part is great. This is one of the better parts in the level entirely. It really uses the 2.1 blocks to the max. I love when people use the original blocks and just go all out on them. My only issue is that it would have been nice to see the background like this continue on, because notice how the further you get into the part, it just kind of gets empty. It's just nothing. And then it just turns into a random glow section. Like, that part kind of just feels like, I don't know, there's nothing there. This part is one of my favorite parts of the entire level. I don't really have much to talk about it besides the fact that it just works. It really just does work. Like, even though the entire level you are moving at 1x speed, the use of window lines just makes you feel like you are going faster. The constant color changing keeps this part lively. And just, yeah, we got the black glows on the sides, so, you know, increase the atmosphere. It's just really good. And then we go into this part, which is a massive shake-up. And we're at the Catacombs. Okay, so I was dumb and completely forgot to talk about the Catacombs, so let's give my quick thoughts on it. So, when in the depths, right, for a lot of it, the whole theme of you are underneath the castle in a dungeon environment is emphasized, and the Catacombs again shows that theme. Just the whole use of, like, how do I describe it? It's beige colored bricks, and the whole, and just a whole bunch of cobwebs, spikes, rocks, and again skulls. It's just emphasizing that theme even more. It's in general just another good part. There isn't really much to talk about it. It's just good execution, matches the other parts, and matches the theme. Otherwise, there isn't really much to say. I could say the background could be a little more fuller, but otherwise that's about it. Uses the original blocks in the game really well as well, and using glow to make them pop. So it's just a lot of the normal things that I've said for most of the other parts in the level. It's the same thing here. So yeah, the rest of the review now. Okay, goodbye. This part is amazing. I don't really have much to talk about with this part. It's just a really good part. Skulls in the background. Look at that eye, which leads into the boss fight. Like, that's great. This boss fight is also really good. Again, my only issue is that a lot of the background is actually locked on the X position of your player. So it kind of feels like you're just not moving anywhere. That's like the only issue I have with it. Otherwise, it's a really good part. Because it's a Xender Game boss fight, and then you're at the end. So overall, the deep path is a very, very, very strong part, and is probably the strongest part in the entire level. It kind of just hits all the marks. My only issues be the main issue is the crystal part. The crystal part is the main issue with it. Oh, that's a bug. Might want to save that one. When you try to speed it up, once the credits start rolling, you can die. This castle entrance is great, by the way. I feel this part could transition a bit better. Because, like, this pillar here, the way how it is done here, it's a bit jarring. I think it would have been a lot better if this pillar just was cut off right here and black glow to fade it out. So it still looks like it's within this part and doesn't interrupt any other parts. Otherwise, this is really good. The detailing here is great. Backgrounds are great. It hits all the marks, this part. This part's really good. This part is also good. It works with the song nicely with the pulsing. Colors are very bold. I think it's a good thing. I don't know. This part just feels a bit off to me. I don't really like this part. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. I don't know if it's like colors or it probably is the colors really. The colors, they kind of just don't really work together. No. This part's good. It's a bit empty, but otherwise it's pretty good. The spikes are a bit lackluster, and the towers are great. All the way up them, they're all really good. The way you can just switch paths. I don't really have much to talk about when it comes to this. It's just a really solid part. Sure, it's laggy, but it's good. Bookshelves, amazing. Again, there is not much to talk about because it's just overall a very solid level. Like, this ground does feel a little bit empty. I genuinely struggle to give this criticism. I struggle to say these little things are good and these things are bad. I think that might be the small issue with this, okay? In general, the level is good. Decoration and both gameplay. But I think what is making this not a 10 out of 10, it's more of an 8 out of 10 decoration-wise, is and I know because of the high object count this is difficult to do, and then it's a mega collab it's difficult to do, is that the attention to detail isn't there. The issue with CastleMania is that those little things don't really exist. This part's really good, however. This part does have that attention to detail. So we've got like blinking in the frames to build theme. We've got the glow again to build theme of like, hey, it's the spooky room. I really like this haze on top of the player with the dots. It's really good. The eyes follow you in that back painting. So this part here is really good. I can't really give any like negative criticisms onto it. It feels a little unpolished in some sections with some jarring edges, but otherwise it's a solid part as per usual. The main hall is again good. My only issue is that the spikes are a little like, this is the main issue I have with this level. Like, the level as a whole, the only thing I can really talk about when I'm talking about the entire level is that there are a lot of just things that are they just feel a bit out of place. These spikes here, I get that it highlights saying, hey, this is spike, don't hit it. If you hit it, you die, you go back to the beginning. You don't want that, right? So that it's good gameplay wise that says, hey, this is bad, don't hit it, alright? But it still just feels a little out of place. Everything else here, great. Backgrounds are really good. It really adds a lot of depth to the level, which is what you want, especially in a level where everything is confined, because like you are inside a building, so it's going to be very confined. So having the windows and details outside of the building, it adds that depth, which is something that you want in something like this, right? Again, I really like the creators have used original blocks. These are simply pretty much sign blocks, and they've made them the floor / roof. The roof is just signs, and it works. Why? We don't know, but it just works. It's great. This part here is really nice. I actually like the glow on the spikes here. This is where the spikes really worked together nicely, and I think that's because it complements the object color. And I feel like that's the issue with the very first part of the main hall, because the first part of the main hall is that the spikes, they're red, the ground is grey, and it just doesn't really feel right. But here, we've got purple spikes, purple ground. I also like the rotates. Wait a second. Oh my god, you did not. Okay, here is the attention to detail that I'm talking about, which is what really carries a level. Look at this. That's touched. That, yep, alright, cool, it is. It is. This is really good, okay? The lamps here, when you touch them, they swing. When you avoid them, they don't swing. That is a little thing. Again, talking about the little things that really carry a level. This is one of them. It's a case of, it really makes you feel like you are in the castle, right? It actually makes you feel like you're in the castle, because you're interacting with the things in the castle besides you died, okay? So it's really, really good. This, I don't know what the deal is with this. It kind of just looks cool, but I don't know what it's meant to be there for. This is, it kind of just feels like, oh, well, I ran out of ideas, time to go design style, and just hit up with this cool effect. Sure, it's a cool effect, but it kind of just feels a little out of place, I don't know. This part here, I don't know how I feel about this one. There's nothing really to talk about here. It's another solid part. Grounds are good. Again, using the default blocks. Default saws as well, working really nicely. Just, you know, it's rare you see default saws in an art level. Just default blocks in general in an art level, and make it work nicely. Everything, it's just good. It's solid. It just works. Again, depth is really good. And somehow, the intensity of they've got completely different parts. How do I put words into this? Okay, so you have, in this section of the song, you have completely different parts with varying intensity, right? We have below us a boss fight. We have above us on the roof. The entire roof is collapsing. There is a massive storm, and there is also a boss fight. And here it's kind of chill, but it still works with the song. Somehow you make the most chill part compared to every other part using the part of the song, because we are currently in the middle of 2 boss fights right now. Actually 3 boss fights, and it still works. Like, it's just really, it's great. Subwoofers part. I normally don't like subwoofers. I'm pretty sure it's subwoofer. It looks like him. I normally don't like his creating style. This I actually like a lot. The colors here are great. The use of greens and purples, it's always been a really good color combination, and here it shows again that you just can't miss with that. The blues here are great. I feel like the blues and greens don't really work well together. Boss fight here. This boss fight is good. It's pretty rough in design, but it works with the rest of the part still feeling a bit rough. So, like, it's not the best looking part, but at least it doesn't feel out of place, the boss fight. It still works with everything else in that part, with just the general roughness of it. So, Yes, it isn't the best looking part, but at least everything works well together. So that cohesion definitely makes the part look better and still feel good to play. This part here, I know it's kind of a transition part. I still think it's good. I actually like it. I like this a lot. Even though it is just a red, it's pretty much just a red straight fly section with just a giant black box up here. It just adds that castle immersion of just tight corridors when you're underground. Hey, ready? And I like the death trap here. Boss. This is a really good part. Another classic Xender Game boss fight. How can you tell? Not because of the boss fight itself, but because of the glow. The glow here, Xender Game doesn't miss. He cannot miss with the glow, alright? It's consistently good every time. Yeah, this part's very difficult. But the glow, I lost, okay? That's the only thing I can say. It is that good. Am I straight up just gonna basically sight read the boss? No, I won't. Oh, I did. Okay, cool. It's just a really good part. The detailing on the shelves. Candles are great. Background is great. Background blends in nicely with the foreground, so it's good atmosphere. It still feels like you're in a library kind of setting, even though it's very much different. It's classic Xender Game. It's just really, really good. Okay, roof. So, the clouds. Again, a case of using default blocks and making it work. Because it uses the spirals, and it just works for some reason. The castle blocks from 2.0, they are really nice with the subtle glow on, especially like these bigger ones. That subtle glow, it just brings out so much, it makes them pop. The lightning here is good, syncing up with the music. The moon is simple, and it works, just adds more to the background. Gameplay here is passable. Boxes are nice, spikes are good, everything just fits in nicely. I really like how when the storm gets stronger, you can tell that the storm is getting stronger because everything just turned red for no reason, but it's cool because it's for the Reaper, right? How all of, like, it kind of just feels like gravity no longer exists. There is a massive storm brewing that is just lifting the boxes up from the ground, but because of the red aura, it's like, yo, it's some kind of like curse thing. So you think, okay, it's the Reaper because the Reaper's pretty cool, right? So it's a cool link, which is rare to have in Mega Collabs. So, you know a Mega Collab is good when each part links like that. Because it's quite common to see that in a solo level, because it is something that is very easy to do because you have full control over it. But in a Mega Collab, you don't see it that often. So seeing it here is really, really nice. And then back in the tower, really good transition. This part is one of my favorites. Again, everything feels very grand in here. The block designs are really clean. The chains, the background, the gears, like everything in that part is incredible. There is nothing bad about this part. There is pulsing, there is movements, there are rotates, there's everything. Everything is in this part. Animation into the final boss, really good as well. And then you get the boss fight, and the boss fight here is good. It is a different part, and it links with the previous part. There is RNG elements in here, which I'm not a massive fan of. And then this is Rafa's part, I think it looks like it. I don't know. For me, personally, Rafa's style change I'm not a massive fan of. I preferred him as a design creator more than an art creator. Because everything, again, just feels very rough. Music sync here is great. And just everything collapsing. Everything just works. Like, decoration-wise and theming-wise, it's really good. But it, again, still feels unpolished. Which is one of my issues with Sky Tower, actually. Is that it just feels unpolished. I prefer In Silico over Sky Tower. Just because In Silico it feels like a very polished level. While Sky Tower kind of just feels... It's a bit rough. I don't know. Yeah, let's go down here. This part is really good, actually, because even though it is the same part as the part above, it still feels like a different part, which is really good. And the parts from above, something that I like a lot is that all of the triggers and everything that makes the part above function affect what happens down on the bottom floor here. So the part above is still interacting. You can see some of the things falling, and they've animated it so it still works with everything down here. It's just like, oh, it's gone now. They know it's still there. Like, that's, again, a case of attention to detail, to make every single part merge together really well. Pipes here are really nice. It's, you know, feels like you're in a piped area. I don't know how to describe it. I think I'm very tired. It's just it's a good part. Not much to talk about here. Everything kind of just works. There's a couple little things with like glow just being a bit off. I don't know if that's practice mode, which it probably is. where you could see some, you could see some harsh edges, which I wish weren't there. So, something that's cool here is that the background on the top floor is integrated into this part here. So we've got cohesion between two parts, which again, rare to see in a mega collab, when you have two parts combined like that. And seeing it here, again, really nice. It just shows a lot of professionalism in the way that the level is merged, and the way that when the collab was actually being made, that the different creators of each part actually communicated with each other to make each part on the same part of the song flow well together. So there's no theme breaking or atmosphere breaking. So I think that's what makes this level really, really special. This part here, again, it's a showcase of using just the raw blocks to the maximum. These leaves are actually rocks. Statues are great. You know, again, the little details here, like with the plants here. I like the overgrown bricks, and just the whole overgrown vibe that this part gives. It's really good. Transition to the castle, pretty good. There's a little edge just here that's kind of just missing. So it's, like, the main issues that I have with this level, are just minor visual bugs, which can be fixed very easily. With the constant updates that this level is getting, they'll be fixed in no time, for sure. From my understanding, this is meant to be a Halloween level, and it feels like it missed the mark on the whole Halloween vibe, and it's kind of just, it's a castle theme level, which is not a bad thing. It kind of just feels like it missed its main goal, almost. So it's still a really good level, but do I think it won Halloween this year? Personally not. I honestly think that most Halloween levels this year, they weren't that good, and if I were to pick a winner, it would probably be Oscar's Voice as winner of Halloween, which I know there's massive bias there, potentially, but I do think Oscar's Voice, from what I've seen, or Thanatophobia, and I don't like Thanatophobia, is the best Halloween level this year, if you would assume Thanatophobia is a Halloween level, which I think it is. This I wouldn't associate as a Halloween level. I think it's just a castle level. If I were to give, like, everything a score, okay, gameplay-wise, gameplay is solid, it is learny, so it is an upper-end medium demon, I'd say. Maybe, actually no, this feels like a hard demon. There's no part in this level that screams, hey, this is a medium demon. If I were to, like, average out all of the difficulties in the part, I'd say it's a hard demon. It's actually surprisingly consistent, this level. So I'd say it's a hard demon, and with that in mind, like, with how learning it is and that kind of thing, I would give it, like, a 7 or 8 out of 10 gameplay-wise, I guess, but there are some parts that feel a bit clunky, and that's the main issue I have with the gameplay, is that there are some parts that are a bit clunky, especially on the main route, where it kind of just feels a bit off. Some of the parts in the underground section, where the spikes are difficult to see, or covered up by something else, or just awkward transitions, gameplay-wise, and especially the roof, a lot of the jumps there, they kind of just feel a bit awkward. But otherwise, it's really good. There's a lot of things when, say, orbs are covered up by decoration, they are still visible, and it just in general, it's pretty mediocre gameplay, and it doesn't really have any good spots, and it has a couple bad spots, but in general, it's pretty alright. So gameplay, I'd give like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I'm also not a fan of the RNG in the boss fights. I wish it was more, like, I've never just been a fan of RNG boss fights. Like, I get it, it makes a level very cool, because it spices things up every time, but I feel like RNG only belongs in levels that aren't demon. Decoration-wise, decoration is solid. Again, there's just a few visual bugs. Everything works really well together. The fact that a massive collab team was able to communicate to get multiple parts on the same part of the song, but on different levels of the castle, to blend together nicely. Great example being the background of the roof and the flower part being the same. Matching intensity, even when there's 4 parts on the final part of the song, 3 of them are boss fights, 1 of them isn't, and it still fits. Decoration overall, it's probably like a 9 out of 10, because it still feels a bit rough on the edges and everything. The idea's really good. Execution, pretty good. Some of the things definitely could have been better. I understand with the object constraints, trying to keep it as low as possible, so it's optimized. It's difficult to deal with that. There's not really much to say. It's really, really good. Everything just works. To me, it's a good level. The high points are really high with the way you interact with certain objects, such as the chandeliers in the main route, where you touch them and then they'll swing, and if you don't touch them, they don't swing. So Those are just minor little things, again, really good. But the low points are low. But because of the amount of high points there are, I would say that it's an 8.5 out of 10 or so. Probably an 8.5 for decoration. So like, it's a good level. It's not the best level. Do I think it deserved the hype? Yes. Because of how unique the concept is, I think it makes sense why it has that level of hype. But there are definitely levels that are a lot better than it. I don't know how to end a video, so basically, if it wasn't obvious, this is a different style of review where I do it on stream. Instead of writing a script, you kind of just play the level and then get instant feedback like that, if that makes sense. I'm thinking I might do that more often. I don't know. I did enjoy it a lot, being able to bounce ideas off with chat. But just like leave a comment or something. What are your thoughts on it? Which one would you prefer? Do I do both? I feel like this style of review is better when you're doing general level requests. It's not amazing when you're trying to give detailed reviews, because you need to make words on the spot like that. But I don't know. My head is dying, so I'm going to stop the recording here, so I don't pass out. But yeah, goodbye. Smile.